Let's get into our friends here over at Facebook. I have been talking for years about this whole H-1B visa problem. It's been a problem in the tech industry primarily. Now, there's other types of temporary worker visas that are used in other industries. For the most part, I think in most other industries, they're not misused. But in the U.S., it is very misused. It's crazy, frankly, when you get right down to it. We have some of the top consulting companies in the country bringing in foreign workers when we have U.S. citizens that really could do the job, should do the job by law. It has to be given to our U.S. citizens versus these foreign workers. So really, what is going on? Well, the Justice Department just this Tuesday alleged that Icon Systems was routinely discriminating against U.S. workers by posting job ads specifying a preference for applicants with temporary work visas. That company failed to consider at least a single U.S. citizen applicant, this one person who applied to this discriminatory advertisement. It's a very big deal. Last week, the feds come out and sue Facebook in a very big way. They were arguing that the Facebook hiring practices truly discriminated against U.S. workers. Now, you might be asking yourself, first of all, why would they discriminate against U.S. workers in preference for a foreign worker? The big answer to that, number one, is these workers don't fall under all of the same rules and regulations that U.S. workers do. You can mistreat them pretty badly. I've seen it done many times. That poor person who has been brought over from overseas at some potentially third world country, most likely a third world country, is afraid to say anything because they don't want to lose their job. We know of cases that have been reported online again and again where there were a half a dozen, even a dozen people staying in a single apartment working for some of these major giants. We're talking about big companies that can and do pay good money for U.S. workers and certainly charge a lot. I have really ranted and raved about some of these consulting firms who have gone in, have overbid on some of this stuff. This one that I'm thinking of, there was a proposal out, an RFP basically, from a company that had been a client of mine for 20 years. They were looking for someone to run their Microsoft infrastructure, if you will, mainly their email server. They wanted this email server to be hosted by the company and maintained by the company. Now, if you know how to do that stuff, it's pretty darned easy. This one consulting firm, whose name you would recognize if you're in the computer business, came in and bid twice what we bid, twice as much. I really had to question it. I poked around and I found that yeah, indeed, they were out golfing with the head of the division and were buddy with them. So they got the job. Then I dug into it more and found out that they had one of the top rates of bringing in foreign workers on H-1B visas. Those foreign workers were being paid a fraction of what the U.S. workers would have been paid, that I would have paid. So there they are, charging twice what I was going to charge and paying their people about a fifth of what I had to pay my people. In my case, my people, somewhere around a third of their time is spent in classes, is spent in training, is spent in exercises, red team, blue team stuff. In these cases, they bring somebody in who probably lied on their application. I certainly know a couple of them that absolutely misrepresented their skills. Can you tell I'm just spitting mad here? Off they go now saying, yeah, we can do all of this. And they bring in the people to do the job because they didn't even have the skills in-house. Come 2 months later, they, after having had that contract awarded, this firm had still not been able to get Microsoft's email server working. 2 months later. If much about this, it is not that hard to do. A few months after that, they finally had it all working, and they were bouncing emails and wondering, why are we bouncing emails? They had us have a look at it. It was completely misconfigured. They didn't have some of the stuff done that needed to be done, like double reverse lookups and things, because people don't want spam. So if your email server is not properly configured, your emails are going to bounce. My head is throbbing just thinking about this. Something we could have had up and running for them in a matter of a couple of weeks, and they would not have had any of the problems that they had. Oh, and by the way, their system crashed, this Exchange server, this email server, and they had no good backup at all. What we had proposed to them was a complete failover, where if one of the Exchange servers went down, the other one would take over. They would actually both be running in parallel the rest of the time, so performance would have been better. And we were still half the price. It just drives me crazy. In this lawsuit against Facebook, the Justice Department's arguing that even though there are requirements to advertise the job, make sure Americans can apply and do apply for the job, you need to hire Americans first. Apparently, that's not what they did. Are required to place ads for permanent jobs in print publications. Candidates are supposed to submit their applications and they go into HR, that whole trick, right? The jobs had an average salary of more than $156,000 a year, which, by the way, is the poverty level out in the Bay Area. Yet out of 1,100 jobs posted between July 2018 and April 2019, 99% received no applicants or just a single applicant, which means, yes, indeed, they were hiding these specific jobs. It's just crazy. They had another one where they had done it correctly, and they had more than 2,600 applications for 22 jobs. Shows you what's going on over there.